Coach's Corner, Coach Chris Smelley, brought to you by Stop and Shop Auto Sales on 1st Street in Sylacauga. And Coach, turnovers, penalties, special teams, it all came together in a disappointing 34-31 loss to Hopeville last Friday night.
It was a game that we, going in, felt like we had a really good chance to win the football game, and Hopeville's got a really solid team. When you're playing a good football team, you got to play good across the board. And so, we had some special team lapses, a block punt for a touchdown, a kickoff return for a touchdown. Both were really big momentum swingers. In so many ways, we played well enough to win. Our defense kept them to under 200 yards of offense on the night. We put up 31 points. So, if you look at the box score, you would say this is a game that we're going to win. But we found a way to let it slip away. And so I was really proud of our guys, overall for the way that our performance and our fight and the energy in the stadium was great. And, so many good things. But we didn't come away with the win, so that was definitely disappointing. One thing that I took away from the game too is we had a lot of guys that were really upset after the game. You could see a lot of emotion on their faces.
Well, that's good to see.
Right. And so some guys that are really invested and know the potential that we have as a football team and want to see us play our best. And so as a coach, that was sort of a takeaway that was a positive too at the end of the day. So we got to make sure that we're doing the best job we can as coaches. To put our guys in a position to be successful. And so we've tried to really hone in on some of those things that it takes to beat a good football team.
You got off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, I mean, we went down and we went up on them and, 7-0 and sort of put the pressure on them and then gave up a kickoff return right there in the first quarter.
You have a nice drive and an ensuing kickoff 95 yards later.
Yep. And those can be tough to overcome. Those are big momentum swings when you have a letdown like that, and then also had the block punt for a touchdown. I think late in the first, maybe early second quarter.
Is that just a breakdown in the blocking scheme, or what?
Yeah. Just not quite executing our job, and I feel like us as coaches sort of take some responsibility on. We got to amp up the pressure on our guys in practice and practice those things that might show up in a game. A little bit better, and so our guys are hungry. We bounced back and had an awesome week of practice. Sometimes you, as a coach, wonder how your guys are going to respond after a loss, and we've had a really good week. So,
C.J. Franklin, your senior quarterback, he played well a lot of times last Friday night.
He played really well, and sort of took over the mantle of what he's capable of. We ran him a lot more in this game. He ran for 125 yards or so and 2 touchdowns, threw for 2 touchdowns. And so I feel like it was sort of an opportunity for him to get more involved and sort of know what he's capable of and put some of that out there. So, kind of gives us some more options and things that we know that we can do to try to generate offense.
It was a pretty physical football game as well.
A very physical game. We knew going into the game, Hopeville was big up front on both sides, and and we've got some size to us as well. So it was a physical game. A lot of good football was played on that field last Friday night, and just a couple of big plays and opportunities that we had that didn't go our way. And this Friday night, we want to try to make sure they all go our way.
0-1 in region play, a 34-31 loss to Hopeville last Friday night. On the road to Beauregard tomorrow night, and that's a nice little bus trip for you, and a very key region game too.
Yeah, I mean, this makes all these other region games that much more important. The margin for error is a lot smaller now for us. But I told our guys after the game that any goals that we've got for our team are still there. And I think our guys really responded and showed up this week at practice. We're going to be ready to go.
And, Sylacauga doesn't have a cupcake schedule either. Right after that is Central Clay. And so it's a difficult schedule, but one that you've got to contend with if you're going to make the playoffs. And Sylacauga got a good chance to do that.
Oh, absolutely we do. That was definitely a goal that we had this year, and it's still right there for us. But we've got a good region. You know, week 2 we played Montevallo, and I was talking with the coach, and he was, you know, kind of talking about, you know, how good of a football team he thought we had, and we do have a really good football team. And I said, yeah, and we're going to have to go out and earn region wins to make the playoffs. And he was like, man, yeah, you know, a team that is as good as y'all, and you're having to, you know, have to go really earn a spot in the playoffs. That just, you know, speaks to our region, and you know, it is one that we're going to have to go battle for a win every Friday night.
A lot of penalties on both teams last Friday night. They were just one of those games where, you know, you'd make a big play and you'd have a hold or something like that, and those things always play into where you win or lose.
Yeah, I mean, you know, especially if it's mistakes that you can control. You know, we put ourselves behind the sticks a couple times offensively, and sometimes we're able to overcome it. Sometimes we struggle to overcome it a little bit. But, you know, it's definitely those small things and those details that really matter. And, you know, when you're playing a good football team and you're playing in a tight contested game, this was another message I had for our guys yesterday. It only comes down a lot of times to just a few key plays, you know, and you never know. This is what I told him, is like, you never know when those plays are going to be. You know, it might be a play that you think's not important, and you're going to look back after the game, and that's one of those 4 or 5 plays that would have made the difference if you know, kind of flip the script. And so you got to be locked in and playing your best ball every single snap.
Talk about a couple of 3 players that you have not mentioned already this morning that played well Friday night.
So Ryan McMillan, a 10th grade linebacker for us, played really well. He led the team in tackles with 11 tackles. And then we've got a right tackle, Todd Thompson, who was primarily a defensive end. We had an injury to our starting right tackle the week before our first game. And he stepped in and has played really good football for us at right tackle, and been very dependable. And a guy that really stepped up and sort of is the epitome of that next man up, be ready mentality.
How difficult is it for a player to play multiple positions?
It's tough. You know, we were cramping a little bit this past Friday, our first like real 4-quarter football game that we've had, and so, you know, with the amount of stuff that we do offensively and defensively, you know, we try to do a good job as coaches of making sure that our guys are prepared, that mentally they know what to do, so that you can go out and you can play fast. But we do a good bit on both sides. So for some of those guys having to learn 2 different positions, you know, with limited practice time and limited meeting times and all that, it can be difficult. So, you know, hats off to those guys that are willing to put in the time and the focus to be able to go pull that off.
Someone asked me this week that watches your segment every week about how much time you guys put into special teams each week on the practice field.
Yeah, and with some special teams letdowns this past Friday, we've even upped that this week. And so, you know, it's not just offense and trying to score points, and defense and trying to tackle the other guy. Special teams is the third part of playing winning football, and when you're playing a good football team, you gotta be good in all 3 phases.
Finally, you've seen tape of Beauregard. What concerns you about them?
Beauregard is they're Beauregard. They're very physical. They're a big team. They've got some guys that can make big plays on you, but you know, they trust what they're doing. They trust their guys, and so they'll play you in a lot of man-to-man defense and try to get extra guys in the box to stop your run. And so, you know, it's a game where you got to have some guys step up on the outside, make some big plays. And they're a good football team. It'll be a good test, and we'll see if our guys are ready for a good road game.
All right. Coach Chris Smelley, the head football coach of the Sylacauga Aggies, 0-1 in region play. Go for that first win in region play against Beauregard on Friday night. Coach, always thanks for coming. Have a good day today.
Thank you.
Got more daybreak just ahead. Coach Chris Smelley Show brought to you by Stop and Shop Auto Sales.